Welcome to your Networth's Network. I'm your host, Corey McNabb, and this is a networking style podcast where we bring on a special guest and we let them talk about themselves a little bit, about their business. We learn all we can together and how we can work together. My goal in life is to rise to a place of excellence, and I want to bring you with me. So, that being said, I have a wonderful guest today, Mr. David Hori. Come on up here. Hey,
Howdy.
David. How you doing?
I'm quite well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I hope you had a good trip back home from the Golden Ticket event.
I did indeed. I did indeed. But happy to be back in Idaho with sunny blue skies.
There you go. There you go. Well, David, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I think some things that are worth knowing about me. I started in the most mundane jobs ever, right? So of interest that to potentially to some people, I'll highlight wildlife firefighting, um, dishwashing. I have been a tractor driver, a goat herder. So I have done a little bit of lots of different things, but the majority of my professional career was spent at a giant law firm. Okay. And I did HR for them. So I was a regional HR advisor for the Pacific Northwest. They had multiple offices in Alaska, in Oregon, in Washington. And so I supported them, everything from hiring to retirement. And that really gave me a taste and a sense for I want to move fast and I want to try new things. And I wasn't going to get it at a giant law firm. So that led me down the path of tech startups, and that has brought me to my endeavor now. So I grew and scaled and three different tech startups for three different founders, and those have all subsequently exited via acquisition. And I was looking at the last exit scenario, and realizing there was a difference between the exit scenario that I had as a founding team member and the founders had. And I thought, why do I keep building businesses for other people? I have skills that apply to growing businesses. Why don't I do that for myself? And so now I am focused on buying businesses that exist, that were working reasonably well, and applying what I know to them to grow them.
Okay, I was about to say you definitely those are unique skills, and I was wondering where that story was going to go, but now I get it. So for those of us who may be interested in getting into buying businesses and
Mhm.
um, that type of, I guess, would you call that investment, or is that more of a career line for you?
I think it's both. I think there's a tremendous amount of personal investment and personal sweat equity that's going to go into it. I don't see anybody that's buying businesses and not putting in work into it, which I think is a common misconception potentially, and what I'm hearing coined as acquisition entrepreneurs.
I got you. Okay, so I'm curious, how did you make that transition from building other people's businesses to buying your own business? Was there, other than looking at the exit strategy, was there something else that tipped you off that's like, oh, I should do that? Or did the pieces just fall in place that you're like, oh, this would make a good idea or good path?
Sure, it's an emerging path, right? So yes, the exit scenarios was kind of the impetus for like there might be something more productive I can use my time, my expertise on, that still would be really exciting and fun to build because I'm a builder. Um, but the path is different for everyone, and I'm not an expert. I'm here maybe a step or two ahead of potential people listening in on this, and I'm figuring it out and I'm failing forward and learning as I go. But there's multiple paths. There's things that have, I think, helped propel me along the way is definitely finding people that are doing it and have done it, that have experience that I can learn from, mentors, again, teaching myself online, like all kinds of different things. And then the most important learning is getting out there and talking to business owners.
Okay. So when did you make that transition, or how long ago was that you decided you're going to start buying businesses?
Yeah. So, like I said, my last startup was acquired by a subsidiary of Toyota, and I stayed on for almost 2 years helping with that transition, and that wrapped up in July, last July. So, for people listening, that's like 7, 8 months ago. And I kind of assumed I was going to jump right back into another startup. And then it was only through reflecting and kind of like, what do I want next? And actually talking to some other startups where I thought, man, I don't know if this is where I'm feeling the same amount of energy as I did the first 3 times. Like, what else is out there? And so um, I actually joined a group of people that are focused on buying businesses just before Christmas. And so I'm about at the point of this recording, just under 2 months into that journey.
Okay. And have you had any successful purchases since?
None. I'm still
None yet.
chasing my first deal.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that tells me one of those things that you need then, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening to this and you have a business that you're like, God, I don't want to deal with this anymore, contact David. He probably, well, are there specifics? Are you going after any specific businesses?
There's multiple paths that I've been pursuing. And, I think that if there's a business owner out there listening, there are multiple ways that I could potentially help, and I might not be able to help. Like, I'm going to look at and consider anything that comes to me organically and through my network. But the reality is, I might not be able to help, and I'll tell you square on that whether or not I think I can or not deliver value. So there's a couple people though that might be interested in this. So one, you're a business owner. You've grown your practice, your business, whatever that is, to the level that you can personally take it using the experience you have, and bringing on a partner or somebody else could maybe potentially help elevate the trajectory of what you're doing. And so that's something that I could potentially help with. And whether that's actually me coming on board or me hiring other people that, again, narrow your focus to the things that add the most value for your business. Hiring is my superpower, and we might get to that in a little bit, but that's something that I could potentially help with. So it's not just people looking to offload their businesses. It could be people that want to grow their business. It could be somebody that is looking to grow their business already, but they're hitting snags, whether it's financing and things like that, where I could come in and help them get unblocked and understand, like what needs to be in place, what would have to be true for you to get the loan that you're looking for, or attract the kinds of employees or customers or whatever that is. So that's another thing that I could potentially partner with business owners on. And then certainly any business owner that's tired, fatigued, ready to be done, and or wanting to exit and move on to their next adventure, that would be somebody that would be interesting to talk to as well.
Okay, great. So you don't have a like a filter of, oh, I only want these types of businesses. You're kind of open to anything then.
Yes and no. So for like my like personal acquisitions that I'm going to um expend proactive energy reaching out to, I do have some criterias. There's industries that are more attractive and less attractive. Certainly I'm looking at businesses that have kind of 3 to 5 million in revenue, have 10 plus employees. Those are kind of ideal sizes and makeups of organizations. But the caveat is that I'm investing a lot of time in also meeting potential partners. Now, partners that I could partner with to take down and acquire a business, partners that are business owners that may be interested in bolt-on acquisitions. And so that's a scenario where you come to somebody comes to me with a small business that is um, maybe doing $500,000 or something, that wouldn't be in my buy box, but it would be super interesting for me to be able to connect you with a business owner that's looking for something like that. And I'll just use one personal example. I have a friend who builds custom homes. And when he heard what I was doing, he said, "Hey, I've been thinking for years that it would be nice to acquire something like a cabinet making company. I don't have the time to take that down, to research it, contact, do all that. And I don't have the experience in that. Would that be something that, like, if you came across a cabinet company, you could help me piece together?" Great, let's talk about that. And so I'm not looking to get into cabinetry. And there's a lot of small cabinet shops out there that might be interesting to him that wouldn't be personally interesting to me. Does that answer your question?
I think so. I think so. Okay. So you're kind of open to you're open to being a connector in a sense
Mm-hmm.
with businesses. But then for the most part, your criteria is the income generation and size of the
Mm-hmm.
business more so than like you said there are specific industries that are more attractive and less attractive. I think that's kind of what I was getting at. What specific industries are you wanting to look into, or are there any that you'd be like, oh, I'm going to run away from?
Sure. I am. So one industry that would be interesting to me is staffing agencies, recruiting firms, things like that, especially if they're utilizing offshore talent. That's something that when people hear what I've done and how I've built things, they immediately want to try to bring me into to do for them. And I would
Mm,
love, love, love to have a business of my own where I'm referring them to that business, and I have other people that are doing the heavy lifting on that. So that's one that would be super specific. Another one that I'm like currently, so I go through different industries and again do like outbound outreach to business owners in that sector, is wildfire management companies, right? So again, I mentioned earlier that I was experienced in that. There's a lot of different kind of privately owned businesses that uh, both provide that service and support that service, and so I've been looking at businesses in that realm as well. In general, again, going back to my roots at a big law firm, like professional services would be really interesting to me. Less interesting is tech. Like, I like simpler businesses where I can wrap my arms around them. And again, like I came from three different tech startups. I can learn it. I can be successful, but that's not where I would probably start. And then hospitality is another one that I love. It's near and dear to my heart. I want to get there someday. I don't want to start there.
gotcha. All right. So hospitality is down the road. I
Yeah.
was I was curious if tech was going to make that list anywhere. And all right. Well, okay. So for someone looking to, or maybe just starting to look into buying their first business. I know you said you're
Mhm.
still looking for your first deal.
Mhm.
You obviously have more experience and more training. What is a piece of advice you would give someone who is just starting to look into buying their first business?
I think buying businesses is a lot more relational than I ever imagined. The longer that I'm talking to owners and things like that, the more I recognize that this isn't a business transaction. Even if, like, on the surface, you're talking to somebody that says, "I'm burned out, I'm done, just give me the money, I want out." It really is about building rapport and time. You can't rush it. And one of the things that I foibled early on was an incredibly lucrative, business, successful business, right? Where I connected with the owner, I understood his need, I had some ideas around the solution that he was excited about. He trusted me as a person that could deliver on things that he needed, and I still managed to, like, totally screw it up, and he still hasn't talked to me again to this day, right? So, um, and the thing was, like, I tried to, like, get it all done, like, in the first few conversations, right? Like, I get it, I can help. You agree that I can help. Let's do this, right? And that was really an affront to him, and also there needs to be a deeper level of trust before you start talking about, something that someone has stewarded and grown over years and sometimes decades. So that would be something I would advise people to be more aware of from the outset.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because I mean, ultimately, even if they're burnout and tired of it, it's kind of like you're trying to be like, look, you don't want to take care of your kid anymore. I'll let me take it, right? So I totally get that. You gotta warm them up more and show them the benefit that you're bringing to them.
At the end
Um,
of the day, yeah, like I'm positioning myself as that safe pair of hands for them to entrust their business, their employees, their legacy, whatever is their driver. And that takes time. That's not communicated in an initial interaction or three.
right. All right. Well, I appreciate that information and knowledge. I definitely learned something. I do have a few questions if you still got time. They're pretty
Absolutely.
basic. So first off, what made you decide to come on the podcast today?
Um, you probably get this a lot, but your mustache was a major influence on me committing to this, and seeing it in person, especially. But no, I think there's a lot of overlap between real estate and buying businesses. On and off market deals, dealing with brokers or agents. I'm learning a ton just by being around real estate people, and so I hope that I can learn from you, add value to you. And Atlanta is a hotbed for investment, growth, all kinds of great things. So those are some things, but I don't want to be disingenuous and say that the mustache didn't play a large role.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So then, I mean, obvious one. We just met, but why aren't we doing business together?
Um, you know, I think that we just need more time. We need more time to understand, like what your needs are, and certainly if there's, I'm an idea factory, so understanding and getting opportunities to hear about how you're setting yourself up for success, what you want to achieve in the next year. I think that's something that I would love to unpack a little bit more, and we will be doing business.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely chat about that a little bit later. Um, but today's all about you, David. All right, today's all about you. So that being said, you kind of hit on a superpower of yours earlier. So what what all are your strengths or superpowers, whether it's business or even just in your personal life?
Um, I have a figure it out button, and I've learned that's not something that everybody has, and it actually is really valuable when you're in building and scaling mode. So that's one thing. I think beyond having a figure it out button, I have a lot of reps in hiring people, and often in any business, it's a who not how problem. And so many people go into hiring with kind of this like trial and error approach of like, oh, I'm going to hire first, like my friend, because that's easy. Then I'm going to hire somebody that I like, that has experience. And then I'm going to like start to get more systematic about how I'm evaluating partners, employees, things like that. And my superpower is having a structured, data driven approach to bringing on partners, bringing on employees, things like that. It's not a science, right? But it's going to elevate the time and energy that you spend on growing your team significantly. So hiring is one of them. And I think also just being an idea factory, right? Like you and I could spend 5 minutes chatting about whatever's going on in your life. And I have to like really restrain myself from like blurting out all these ideas I have for what have you tried this? Like, what about that? Like you should talk to and being a connector doesn't help that. So I think those are some things that I have going for me.
Fantastic. All right. Well, then on the flip side of that, what are your weaknesses?
Yeah, I think something that I keep coming back to um, is taking a long-term approach to my network, right? So, like I've noticed that there are cycles in who I engage with, and it can be very kind of transactional. Like I have a need, I reinitiate contact, and then I'm on and doing the next thing. I'm missing out on adding a ton of value to people in my network. Like strengthening relationships, even like losing touch with people entirely. And so that's something that like I really want to improve. Um, and I think my first instinct, having built things from the ground up that I have to intentionally suppress, is like I can do it. I can figure it out. Me. And, that's great if you're looking for an integrator. And if I wanted to continue along the path of being an integrator, um, and I want to focus more on, you know, the strategy, the vision, and delivering at a higher level. And that's something that that's a muscle I'm having to exercise right now.
Okay. So do you think you fall more towards integrator than visionary, or are you just so used to being an integrator that that's kind of where you've been staying in the comfort zone?
I've always been a visionary, and I think that's why at the law firm I recognize like I've got all these ideas, all these new approaches. I want to move really fast and try things, and that was incongruent with the way that the legal environment kind of progresses. But I've functioned as an integrator to date, and so I now refer to myself as a recovering integrator. Um,
There you go.
there's probably a term for somebody that's a visionary and integrator, and that is me. But I want to intentionally um, place less emphasis on the integration and more on the vision.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting that one one of your you say one of your weaknesses is that you basically need to do it. Like you feel like you need to do it all.
Mhm.
But also one of your superpowers is hiring people to do
Mhm.
that work for you. So you just need to, I guess, change your mindset in how you can use your superpower to outweigh your weakness for yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. And like I've had occasions to do that. Like right now I'm bootstrapped, right? Like I'm doing everything myself. I have to do it all myself. Um, and with that first acquisition, I'm expecting the ability to start slowly building out a team that helps elevate my focus, and certainly utilizing resources within that business as well, for the things that they're better suited for. So it's kind of a necessary evil now,
Mm.
but yeah, it is an interesting thing, and one that is not natural. I remember I'd built out a team of incredible people that were excellent at at delivering what they did, and I had um this pride, right? That like nobody's going to do it as good as me. They need me to like be signing off on things and to help guide the ship and all this stuff. And I was expecting the birth of my daughter, and so I was going to write up this huge plan so that they knew exactly what to do, and like how to do it. And unexpectedly, we had some medical things come up where I was gone like that, and it was like weeks early, weeks ahead of schedule. And it was a really humbling moment to realize like I had built this incredible team and very capable group of people, and they moved right on without me. I was completely unavailable, and I was like, "Wow, I am actually not that important or necessary," And that was a good realization for me to have, because even though I knew that I couldn't do it all, and I'd build a great team, and they were delivering at a high level, I still had this thought that like it wouldn't run without me, and I'm glad I had that humbling moment to recognize like actually they were just waiting for me to get out of the way, and then they could really turn it up.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your mindset, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm glad that you were able to take that as okay, I did something great, right? You built a great team. Um, so then I guess my last question, what would you need help with that could make you money in the next 30 days?
There would be two things that I think would drastically enhance my ability to make money in the next 30 days. Certainly, just an influx of conversations with business owners, and just filling up like every slot of my calendar with business owners would be one. The second, though, is a mentor, one that is a step or two ahead of me and has done this, that I can consult with regularly. I think that I have some really great mentors that are a lot further along than I am that I can occasionally access, or people that I can call kind of on a one-off question, but like somebody that's really going to be willing to walk um, and navigate some of these things with me, I think would be tremendously helpful at this particular juncture.
Okay. So I'm guessing, is Abraham Gray one of those that's way out there?
He certainly, yeah, he's way out there. I'm still trying to figure out like how do I add value to him in his world, and I'm literally like, you know, I'm sure he's a lot better at it, but like I don't have any kind of network presence in Atlanta, but I'm like pulling listings and running reports on businesses and business owners in the Atlanta area, and so yeah, absolutely.
Well, you expanded your network in Atlanta to one at least.
I love it. I love it. And we will be
Well,
doing business together.
yes, we will. Um, so that being said, obviously, if you got a business within those industries that David talked about, and you're interested in selling, reach out to him. You know, he's still looking for his first deal, but it sounds like he has the experience to take your business that you've worked so hard on, and actually make it just explode into success. That's the vibe I get from, and I hope you got that too. Um, Lastly, David, where can people get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I live on LinkedIn. Um, that's where I connect with people the most. I don't use other socials as much. Email, I'm happy to send along my contact information. I also have a website that will connect you directly to me. It's toplineops.com, www.toplineops.com. Yep. So between that and LinkedIn, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Fantastic. Well, David, that's about it for today. I really appreciate you coming on and talking with us. Is there any last things you want to, last wisdom nuggets you want to give out?
I think I'm all out of wisdom, but my I'll leave you with this, and this is for you, and this is for anybody listening that people should ask and connect with me if you think that I can be helpful to you, and I will do whatever I can to help you, to connect you with somebody else that would be better able to help you, but ask extravagantly. I think that's the best way to find out how do we work well together and what's the optimal path to collaboration. So ask extravagantly and keep asking, right? Because I might not, it might not be the right timing or the right thing, but like just keep asking. That doesn't bother me in the least, and I like to help people wherever I can.
So I think it's interesting you say that, because that, like, I know you say that for you, but that doesn't just apply to you, right? Like, if you look that, you've heard seek and you will find, right?
Mhm.
Knock and the door will be open, and all that stuff. I know that comes from the Bible, but there's a version that when you look at it, it actually states seek continuously and you will find. Knock continuously and the door will be open, right? So it's not just a once and done thing. Just keep at it, right? So in this case, if you try getting in touch with David and he doesn't respond, blow him up. I'm just
Yeah, absolutely. Just don't let don't let any of those inner doubts keep you from reaching out for help and seeking because like, oh, I reached out once or 3 times or he said no twice already. Like like just keep asking because there's somebody on the other side that wants to help, and will if and when they can.
awesome. Well, David, I appreciate it. I'm gonna send you backstage and close this thing up.
Corey, thank you so much, and I do look forward to learning more about you and making my way out to Hotlanta sometime in the near future.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll treat you to lunch or something when you come out here.
I'll take it.
All right. All right, guys. Well, that was today's episode. I definitely learned something. I hope you did too. And I mean, David seems like an awesome dude. Really easy to talk to. Trust me, I have experience now in talking to him. So, that being said, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. Comment anything you want to see more of, something you don't want to see, which, as we know, is definitely not the mustache. Everybody loves the mustache. So, but yeah, any comments, questions, dances, songs, whatever you want, just let me know. I'll look at it. I won't guarantee I'll listen to it, but I appreciate you coming out. And until next time, y'all have a wonderful day.